Yes, yes. I'm just checking my internet speed because morning I have seen just some latency issues. Now the thing seems to be good. Yeah, yeah. Right. So, okay, guys. So today let me start Azure SQL. Right. DTU versus vCore model. So this is what we had to speak yesterday. This is where I've stopped our class yesterday, right? So, right, good. So I think yesterday we have spoken about failovers, we have spoken about replications, we have said that there is something called as failover group, there is something called as geo replication. Failover can basically do automatic failover for you. Yeah. So we have spoken about that, and then we have said that there is something called as data sync, which will sync the data from your on premises to your Azure or the other way around. So now I'm logging into Azure. Okay. So today, after I speak about pricing model, we will all be doing some work. Okay. We'll be doing some hands-on kind of an activity. Yeah. So ensure that your laptops are ready and you have also logged in into the Azure portal. Once we understand this pricing model, that is the next thing which we'll be doing. Good. So I don't have any. Now create an SQL database. Okay. Select something I'm not going to create anyway. So select a server, create new. Let me give some name. Okay. Okay. So obviously I will choose Central US. I've selected that. And now let me click on OK. So our whole discussion is on right. Whether I need to use this or this. Okay. So this is our first discussion. Okay. So this is vCore and this is DTU. Am I clear on this? So this is what our first agenda is. Then we will do some exercise and get more comfortable with the databases. Right. Good man. Right. Okay. The first thing which you need to understand is what was this whole DTU model? Okay. First, Azure used to support only DTU model, and then they have added vCore model. So I think I'll do one thing. I'll basically give you one best documentation which I use for this. So or refer here for understanding vCore versus DTU. So let me go over here. There is a guy called as yeah. So this is the article which I was referring to. Yeah, you have a article in Microsoft documentation also, but this gives you a better insight. This gives you a better insight. Okay. So now this image explains the whole story. Whenever you are selecting a DTU model, you are going linear. Okay. So for example, from one DTU to other DTU, if you go equal on compute and you go equal on storage. So as you increase DTUs, what is that you are trying to increase? You are trying to increase your compute and storage. Whereas when it comes to vCore model, you can have options. So you can say that I need more compute, okay, and less storage, or I need more storage and less compute. You can go with this flexible options. Okay, that was a basic idea. And the other thing with this DTU is, okay, I've given you that link, right? Go through that. DTU has a benchmark, okay, done by Microsoft. Done by Microsoft. So a lot of the people, like what they used to do is they used to use some kind of a calculator. Okay, DTU calculator. I think in this article they should have given the link to this. Oh, 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 oh. Right. So initially what we used to do is whenever you have to calculate whether you want to go with single Azure database or whatever it is, okay, then we used to use this calculator. Okay, so in your on-premise, your database details, we used to store them in this following format, and then we used to upload that zip file over here. Okay, and then you used to calculate the saying that, okay, this is what we had, now you give me the analysis. This is what people used to do earlier. Okay, now also people might do this, but to calculate DTU, Azure has given a basic calculator. Okay, so for using DTUs, okay, Azure recommends users to use the calculator. Okay, okay, but the problem with this was, okay, not many liked this idea. They wanted they didn't wanted any unknown metric saying that, okay, I am giving you DTU. Let me go over here. In this DTU, you have three kinds of DTUs: basic, standard, and premium. If you go with premium, I'll give you better size. Okay, so you can have DTUs till 4,000, and 4,000 DTUs means it will be very what do you call, it will be very fast. Okay, and your data size will be a maximum of 4 terabytes. So are you seeing this? So but these metrics are not something which you see in your office, right? We don't see something which is this kind of a metrics, right? So whenever we measure the database, the sizes which we see is we see CPU, we see RAM, and we see memory, because we try to host our databases on the servers. We try to host our databases on the servers. That's the exact approach what vCore is all about. What vCore is all about. So if you go with DTU approach, okay, what that you would be selecting? You would be selecting DTUs. Okay, you would be selecting DTUs, and then probably you might select a database size. Okay, in premium you will have production grade stuffs. Okay, but if you go to vCore, right? In vCore, if you see, he is trying to tell how many cores do you want? How many cores do you want? And generally, one core will basically is equivalent to 7 GB of RAM. One core is equivalent to 7 GB of RAM. I can say that, okay, I want only right. No, DTU is a Microsoft's measure. Yeah, not sure why it is this slow. Okay, it's fine. So if you see, I can go with 10 cores. Okay, and my storage size is still 1 GB. I don't have a lot of data, but I want the data to be calculated very fast. I want the data to be calculated very fast. Okay, am I clear on this? So you can change the configuration over here. This is the hardware configuration, saying that whether you want to go with Gen 4 or Gen 5. Okay, so no differences in terms of Gen 4 or Gen 5, but Gen 5 starts with a basic kind of a databases. These are customized memory chips, or customized processors which have been basically designed for database kind of purposes, right? So Gen 4, Gen 5, and if you want your application to be fast on memory and compute, then you can go with these two series also, right? So now over here, this virtual course is you are increasing your CPUs. You are increasing your CPUs. Okay, but here, unlike this image, okay, where whenever you increase your CPUs, storage also increases. But if I need to get more storage, I'll be going with more CPU also. Here we don't need to worry about it. Here we don't need to worry about. We can choose whatever sizes which we want, whatever sizes which we want. And generally, one vCore machine, okay, will have approximately 7 GB of RAM, 7 GB of RAM. Okay, so for example, if you are selecting 10 virtual vCores, it will have 7 GB per core. So approximately as dealing with 70 GB of RAM. Okay, you don't have an option to choose a RAM yet. Okay, but that might come down the line in the future. Okay, clear on this? So vCore is all about choosing custom CPU and storage, unlike DT. Unlike DT. Okay, right. Okay, let me do one. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so you can select any customized stuff. This looks rubbish. Generally we'll have less cores and more storage, but I've just drawn the reverse also. It is basically possible for you to do anything, right? Yeah. Right. Okay, in vCore, we have two compute tiers. Okay, provisioned and serverless. Okay, so when should I use what? Okay, so serverless can save the bills if your database is not consistently used throughout the day. Okay, so use this for inconsistently used databases. Okay, why? Because it can save the bill. When it comes to provision, okay, you get guaranteed speed or performance or whatever it is. Okay, so consistently. So use this for databases which are used all the time. So for example, if I take an example of what do you call the banking kind of an application, right? Banks are not on the cloud, but we can take an example like that. So I'll rather go with the provisioned databases there, because my banking database might be used at any point. I will use serverless database for income tax filing or GST filing, because yeah, they are busy, but they are not busy all the time. They are busy once in a month, twice in a month, or they are busy once in a year. So in serverless, what happens is, okay, MS Paint, right? So let us assume that you had a database, okay, and you are using the database. Okay, let me just draw in terms of line chart. You are using the database from morning. Let us assume that this is. I'll draw the times later. Okay, so you are using them. Okay, and then suddenly there was a drop. You stopped using database because some application was not using it. Okay, and then something like this happens. So you have spikes in your usage. Your database is not completely in use, right? So let us assume that this is 7 a.m. This is 10 a.m. Okay, this is 12 or 1 p.m. Okay, and this is 4 p.m. So actually your database is used only for 6 hours in the 24 hours. But if you go for vCore model, you are paying for 24 hours. You are paying for 24 more hours in the provision model. But if you go for serverless, basically what happens is you will be charged only for the duration where your database is used. Okay, in terms of compute. In terms of compute, that is exactly what the serverless option is. So if you go with serverless, okay, you can select the same options, all almost similar options. Okay, but remember, serverless has its own challenges which comes into play. This is a newly added mode into SQL servers, right? So will it be able to scale and all of that stuff? People are using that, but people don't use it on the databases which are consistently needed, So business critical is what Microsoft recommends for you to basically go for production grade machines, to basically use it for production grade machines. So I'm not going anything beyond it. Okay, but all of this is already discussed in this article, so I would recommend you guys to go through this article. So any doubts in pricing so far? Serverless is called as Azure Functions. No, sir, serverless is not called as Azure Functions. Azure Functions use serverless technology. Okay, right. Now the billion dollar question, what should I use? Should I use DTU or should I use vCore? If your company has already started using SQL databases and they are happy with DTUs, don't even try changing them. But if you are starting new, the only thing which you can do is you can basically try to create two environments and then test the query timings. Okay, test the performance, test the fine tuning, test, do all of these activities. That is the only thing which lot of people are recommending when it comes to SQL servers, right? If you want, you can compare by the query speeds, okay, in your test and UAT kind of environments. Okay, sir. So last topic on pricing, there is something called as reservations. Okay. So Azure SQL reservations. Okay. Microsoft further reduces the bills for reservations. Okay. So general reservations is you can give a commitment to use a database for 1 or 3 years and you can save a lot of amount. Okay. So I would recommend basically for all the production grade, it is a sensible idea to do this. Okay. So if you go with the reserved capacity, you would get a decent discount. You will get a decent discount. Okay, very decent discount. Okay, and by the way, uh, Microsoft actually for your organization might give further discounts than what is being shown over here. Okay, that is a deal which you negotiate with Microsoft. But the whole point is there is something called as reservations. In reservations, what is that we do? You can use any model. You can go with DTU, you can go with vCore or anything, and then you can basically reserve your SQL server for the next 1 year or next 3 years of usage. Okay, you can do this for your production servers, and then you will be getting a decent discount, right? Approximately a discount up to a 56 percentage, right? 56, right? If you go with 3 years and if you pay all the amounts, it will go till somewhere around 56% of discount, which is a very huge amount. Okay, and you can save a lot as an organization. Okay, right, sir. Now Azure CLI to create SQL server. Okay, so I've asked everyone in the classroom to have your what do you call databases or to have your Azure setup ready. Okay, yes, 1 minute, man. Let me do one small stuff. Ignore whatever you are seeing right now. So all right. So and Azure PowerShell to create SQL server. We will do all both of them. Okay, but understand one thing. Let me speak about Azure CLI. Okay, so installations, how to install Azure CLI, we will not be doing that today. How to install Azure PowerShell, we will not be doing that today. We will be just be using those commands. So let us find out how to deal with this, right? So Azure CLI is commands, and those commands looks like AZ what is your service, what is your service, and then what is your action, and sometimes you might have sub service, okay, or child service, I'll put it in, okay, action, and then you will have argument value. Okay, so generally Azure CLI looks like this. For example, if you want to create a resource group, it looks like AZ group, action is create, okay, hyphen name test, or it would be hyphen hyphen name, okay, let me go with hyphen hyphen options, okay, hyphen hyphen name test, and hyphen hyphen location central US, okay. Is this looking difficult to anyone? So in the same way, if I want to delete, there might be something called as AZ group delete, okay. We'll be looking at documentation and we'll be doing all of stuff, lot of stuff today. But the whole point is today I don't want you to get into all of this. I want you to just blindly follow a document and see what is happening, okay. So let me see. Good. So everyone has an Azure portal launched? Yes, sir. Yes or no? Please log in into your portal. Yeah, right. And then are you seeing this button over here? Okay. This one. This is called as Cloud Shell. Okay. Okay. Launch Cloud Shell. Okay. So for the people who are doing it for the first time, whenever you click that, right. It's okay, Ramchandra. Whenever you click that, it will ask saying that you don't have any storage. Do you want to create a storage? Please create that. Please create that. That is required. Okay. Okay. You have to do this. Okay. If you already have the storage mounted, it will not ask you this question. This is a one-time activity. Okay. So I'll say create storage. Please do this. Please do that. Cloud Shell for first time. You will observe a prompt for storage creation and create it. Okay. All right. That's it. So all of the CLI commands you can type it from here. So for the people who like the PowerShell, can basically go to PowerShell, or you can select Bash, right? Azure CLI works from PowerShell and also Bash. Okay. You can select any of these modes. Okay. You can select any of them. There is nothing wrong with anything. Okay. So, but for CLI, okay, select bash for this exercise. Okay, but understand one thing, Azure CLI works in PowerShell also. Okay, so don't be with an assumption since it is Azure CLI, I have to go with bash. Azure PowerShell will be no. Azure CLI can be used anywhere. Okay, so but I am selecting bash. Then it says, do you want to confirm? Click on confirm, and a bash prompt is launched. Am I clear on this? Okay, so please, once you have done so far, try to acknowledge me so that I'll be giving you a couple of links. Okay, now create a SQL server from Azure CLI following this document. I'll be sharing the document with you, and I want you to blindly do that today. Azure. I don't want scripts. Okay. I can do one thing. Azure. Okay. So yeah, I'm sharing that to your chat window also. Chat window also. Okay. Can you please open that screen? Yeah. So if you open the chat, I've shared you a link and I want you to open that. Acknowledge me once you have done that. Once you have done. Yeah. You can use PowerShell also if you have. But the whole point is if you want to follow what I'm doing in the classroom to match your images, you can basically use the stuff. Right. Yeah. Okay. Now what I want you to do is blindly copy the stuff over here, each and every command, and paste it over here. So you have said location. What is the next thing? Random identifier. Okay. Execute them line by line. Okay. If you want to check any of these values, you can always do echo dollar location. Echo dollar random identifier. Okay. Echo dollar resource. Okay. Actually, this is a script, but I still want you to copy them line by line because we are trying to build up a command. Okay. Database. I'm quite sure everyone in the room can do it. But what I want you to focus on is these 4 commands: AZ group create, AZ SQL server create, AZ SQL server file var create, AZ SQL server DB create. Okay. Focus on these 4 stuffs. Okay, and that is exactly what I want you to do. Okay, and I'm quite sure everyone in the room, I'm not asking you to remember anything. I'm asking you to just blindly click, okay, and then deal with the stuff. Okay, so okay, right. I've given you the link and I want you to do that. Okay, so once you have done that, done this first exercise, try to tell it to me and tell me what has happened. Then we will basically discuss about what you have seen and what is that whole stuff which you are speaking about. Okay, I think I've given you the link. Do the activity. Are you executing that? Session is not hanged. I have given you the work, sir. Riazuddin, I expect you to do the work. Look into your chat. Okay, I've asked you to paste, copy and paste the comments. Session is not hanged. Actually, you are struck. Okay, deployment failed because server name already exists. Okay, yeah, try to change the server name then. Yeah, good, sir. Okay, right. After you have done that, okay, for the people for whom we have finished this activity, if you go to SQL databases, you should see an SQL database with a new name now. Okay, so I don't want to show the copy paste also, man. So, right, where are we? Database. So I'm asking you to blindly copy paste, but only when we are doing particular commands I want you to focus on. Okay, right. I don't want this echo creating a resource. Right, paste. So over here, what is that I'm trying to do? I'm trying to create a resource. Create a resource. Okay. So now if I go to resource groups, okay, what is the resource group which I've created? Resource hyphen something. I should be able to see its name over here, at least after some time. Okay, right. Okay, uh, good. And then it is asking me to create a SQL server. Sweta, for your case, you need to change the server's name. Okay. And once that is done, you are creating a firewall rule. Nalu command, only 4 commands you are copying and pasting. Okay, right. So server underscore 123 already exists, right? Good. So if server underscore 123 already exists, uh, where is my, okay, right? So I can do one thing, right? Uh, if you look at dollar random identifier, okay, I'll be changing this random identifier to QT123. Okay, you give your name 123, because you cannot have 2 SQL servers with the same name. Okay, right. Oh, oh. You have to just change your server's name. That's it. So in this whole stuff, okay, let me try to tell you where you are going wrong. Okay, there is a copy it, man. Okay, right. So over here, this identifier has to be random. So I am using this identifier as QT123. You use your identifier with your name. So for example, if I was doing it for my purposes, I would have used Kaja123. All right, this has to be a random. Okay, so because you and me cannot have the same server name. So server hyphen random 123 was already created by someone. So you and me cannot create the same name because that is a DNS name. That is a whole issue which you are seeing. Yeah. So just change that random identifier and do that whole stuff. Shravan, I think probably you also might be doing the same thing. Just cross check. Right. Clear on this? Okay. So once you create that stuff, okay, you should be able to come to, okay, are you seeing resource hyphen random 123? Okay. And after that, go into SQL servers, SQL databases, and then you should be able to see whatever database which you have created from command line over here. But it will take some time. It will not be updated immediately. It will not be updated immediately. Yeah, that's it. They change the name. Yeah. Yes. What is Azure SQL? Sir, I'm not sure. I didn't got what you're trying to tell. Okay. That should be fine, man. How is the access created to the database? Sir, if you look at the commands, are you creating some usernames and passwords there? Money? Are you looking at some usernames and passwords when you are copying and pasting that commands? Yeah? Yeah. That is how you are creating an access. And after that also, if you want to control the whole access, if you remember, we have seen this menu yesterday in SQL Server. You can have the whole, you can say that I can control the access. You really need not. If you go into SQL database is what I'm showing you right now. If you go into SQL Server, right? So if you go into here, all services, okay, you don't need to have any studio. SQL Server. Are you looking at this SQL Server? Yeah. So you will see one server over here, right? That's where you can manage the stuff. Okay. Can we control, have the control over the DB that is created inside the SQL Server to do performance tuning, optimization, and all of that stuff? Uh, you create the database, okay, have it ready, okay. You really don't need to do performance management also, but you can do it. You can do it. You will have all of that advanced. You can do all of that, but in Azure, actually, it is automated. There is no need for you to do that. Jaydev, that is your answer. Yeah. So please do this activity. Okay. I don't want to type copy paste the stuff in the classroom. I want you guys to start with that. Then we will try to understand how to deal with CLI commands and all of that stuff. Okay. And one more exercise to you is in the classroom notes today, I have given the same exercise for PowerShell also. Same exercise for PowerShell also. And I want you to basically do creating an SQL server from CLI and from PowerShell both. I will go there. First do one by one, sir. నేను అన్ని ఒక్కసారి మాట్లాడలేనండి శ్రవణ్ గారు. Let us do one by one. Yeah. So when I was speaking about that, you ask about CLI. When I speak about CLI, you ask something else, sir. How is it possible, sir? Can we know on which OS SQL server is created? The ideal answer of that is no. That is not at all your concern, because here you have gone for a platform as a service, right? So why are you worrying about on which data, which OS it is, right? Because once you start worrying about OS, you'll start worrying about patches. Yeah. So that's how it is basically works, right? Yeah. Go ahead, copy paste that and see whether the SQL databases and SQL servers are created or not. And once you have done all of that activity, then delete this whole group which you have created. Okay. For the people who have done that already, okay, and if you want to do the same thing from PowerShell, I'm giving this for PowerShell. If you have done that, you can start using a syllabus. Can we use a VM scale set, which will it comes under? No, I cannot go beyond that in my answer money, but the answer is no. Anyone has finished the activity? Anyone in the room? Yeah. సో శ్వేత మీరు ఇచ్చిన పేరు ఇంకెవరి పేరుతో మ్యాచ్ అవ్వకూడదండి, అలాంటి పేరు ఇవ్వాలి మీరు. Shweta, did you got the stuff? Your name should not match with any other name by any other user in the Azure, because server's name is DNS name. Okay, right. No, in your organization you will have a fixed name, right? Okay, yeah, for your database there might be some purpose that the database serves. It might be for some application, so try to give that. So for example, if you are running it for an insurance application, and if you belong to an Infosys and that is for a company like Kotak, then you would write Kotak in high Kotak dot insurance dot something like that. That is what you would need to do. And that means you have messed up something. Okay, and the first thing is you should not use hyphens in the names. Okay, remove that hyphen. That's it. You are okay. Don't use sir. One thing which I would recommend is don't use that capital letters. Put all of them to a small case. That is what the terror is trying to tell. That VJ, make it to smaller case. Basket, did you got? Yeah. Okay. Good. Try doing these two things today, and basically tomorrow we will understand this query, and then we will execute this without looking at this document, and then we will get into the other areas of SQL servers, like what is that search, right? So other areas of SQL servers, and what is that configuration and all of that stuff, right? So please do this. I don't want anyone in this room giving me explanations. See, Vijay Bhaskar got the error, Shweta got the error. Fine, getting errors is fine, but not attempting and assuming that you will be good at just by listening. I don't want you to put it in that way. This is a hands-on stuff, and I want you to do it. Okay. If you fail, it's absolutely fine. We will try to find out what the issue is. Right. Okay, sir. I'll stop it at that, and done in bash. Okay. Now move to PowerShell. I have given you one more link in the chat screen. Try to do the same thing in use for Azure PowerShell. Azure PowerShell, there is one more link. Okay. If you don't have time right now, anyway, in the classroom notes, I have written the enough documentation for that. Once you have finished the DevOps class, because you also have to attend that, you can try Azure PowerShell for creating SQL Server. Yeah. Okay, sir. And don't forget to remove that. Don't forget to remove that. In the same document, at the last, AZ group delete, you have to do this one also. Yeah, right. Okay, then. I'll be stopping it at that, and we'll be meeting in DevOps class in the next 10 minutes.